Welcome to From the Porch. I'm with Mr. Donald Andrews, and Big A is what some people called you after I graduated?
Yeah, I have a lot of other names too, but like some people call me Mr. A. But a lot of my students, I shared a story with them, okay? I said, when I was in high school, I was called Little A all the time in high school. And because I had a twin brother, and they always called him Big A, called me Little A. I said, that never just really set well with me, okay? So they said, well, Mr. Andrews, we're just going to call you Big A. Is that okay? I said, go ahead. And I know you don't mean anything derogatory about it. So a lot of my students call me Big A. So
okay.
I just accepted that because it didn't mean anything. I just knew that they knew how I felt when I was in high school. So they said, okay, we'll just call you Big A. And that caught on, okay?
Okay.
So
how long have you been in Waller?
I've been here since 1967. And that's pretty good length of my time in life, okay? So when I first came to Waller, I came here in pursuit of a job teaching and coaching. And
I heard you were a football coach. I did not know that. You were just in the ag department, ag teacher for me. But then I heard you were a coach. I'm like, what?
Yeah, when I first came here, I was a coach, and I was assistant football coach under Fred Wiesner, and I was also a head basketball coach, which I never played any basketball, but I had studied the game because I took on the game at Thorndale. I coached basketball. I coached boys basketball and girls basketball, and I was pretty good at it.
So did they win?
We won a lot of games, but my basketball, I had really studied the game, and I took over a pretty good team, okay? And a lot of those kids went to college who played basketball.
Okay.
In fact, one of them was the first black kid that got a scholarship to Bryce, and that was Leroy Marion, okay? So, yeah, I coached. And then Mike Miller was on the team. He was a sophomore. He got a scholarship later on to Shriner at Kerrville. And then some other kids, and one kid went out to California to a team, and then had a couple of them went to Prairie View.
So you've had a lot of people come through here over the years.
Yeah.
When did you become the ag teacher? What were you teaching first?
I was teaching science, so I was teaching all the junior high science program, okay?
Okay.
And and Wayne Schultz was my principal there. And then after classes were over with, I'd go to the athletic program first time I came to Waller, I was a head baseball coach at Thorndale. And so when I came here, I came as they wanted me for assistant football coach. I was teaching science and coaching, and I was fixing to leave Waller after my first year because I'd been offered 3 head coaching jobs and a couple of assistants jobs, and I was really looking at moving.
So why did you stay?
Okay, Mr. Holloman, the superintendent, called me in, and he said, "Hey, I know that you're probably going to leave, but let me offer something to you." He said, "I know you have an agricultural education degree." I said, "Yeah, I went to school to teach ag, but when I got out of mid-semester, there wasn't any." So I taught science and went to coaching at Thorndale. And he said, "Well, we'd like to keep you here." All right. I said, "Okay, what's the deal?" "Well, we're fixing to open up our ag department. It's going to be a 2-teacher ag type, not one teacher." Mr. Gerber was the teacher at that time. And so I said, "Well, I thought that over." I said, that I probably ought to try my degree sometime, okay?" And he says, "Well, what do you think?" I said, "Well, what I'd like to do, if I can do that, is go into the agri program, but if it doesn't work out for me, I'd like to be able to get back on the coaching staff." Because I knew I could coach, and so anyway, he said, well, let me call the head coach over. So Fred came over and he told him what the deal was. And I said, told Mr. Holloman, he said, well, I tell you what, I have a job for him anywhere I go. Said he's a really good coach. And says, I'd like to ask him to do a favor for me. I said, well, what is that? He said, would you go scout for me on Friday night? He said, you're the best scout I've had here ever. I said,
That's
okay,
fun.
yeah. So I said, well, I don't think there'd be a problem with that. I'd go scout for you. And so I went to scout on Friday nights. Yeah, but that didn't last too long because Mr. Gilbert didn't like the idea of me going scouting. I don't know why, but it didn't. I said, well, I don't want to cause no confusion. So, I scouted for about half the year. That's it. But I liked the ag program, and I really liked what they were doing, and so I stayed in it.
So what was your favorite part of ag, like to teach, or
Well,
what part?
always was the fact that those kids chose to come to my class.
That helps.
You didn't get everybody because you had an elective course, and so you got the kids that were really interested in coming in your class.
Right.
And but I've always admired the kids that took a hold and wanted to succeed. So one of the principals asked me one time, says, I don't know how y'all do it, but y'all get some of the best students in y'all's program. I mean, some of the elite kids in our school. I said, that's because they chose to be here. Evidently, we're doing something right, okay? But
Sometimes it's hard to motivate somebody just with math or just with English, though. If it has something
Right.
that is tactile, they can touch and do, and the responsibility of raising an animal, there's just so much to
well,
it.
it's one of the few classes you get to introduced into the entrepreneurial system, because you become an entrepreneur. You own a business. You have a project. That's a business, okay? And you can either fail at it or you succeed at it. And it depends on how well you do with it, okay? So, yeah, it's a good program, and it
Sure.
keeps you. It lets you understand about record keeping and where everything's going, okay, and what you're spending, what you're not spending, what you're making, okay. So it's a really good program,
Yes.
and the kids get a lot of fun out of it, and plus we make it fun because we have a show for it, okay. And normally, if you make a sale in the show, you make pretty good money, okay. So.
And all the judging contests, we got to miss a lot of school. That was always
Yeah,
fun.
I guess kids like to miss school, and they do. They like to go on those judging trips, and it was a lot of fun taking those kids on trips. Okay.
You had to get up at 5 a.m. or 4 or something sometimes, and I just remember driving in the truck with Mr. Smith, blaring his country music.
Yeah.
Some good
Well,
memories.
and I had a dairy judging team. One night spent the night at my house, and we got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and went all the way to Tarleton to a college to judge, and there were 4 girls on the team. They climbed in the back of that van. We took off, and they were in pajamas when we left. Okay. And somewhere before we got there, I don't know how they did it. Okay. They come out and they were in official FFA dress.
They got skills.
I still a mystery to me how they did that. Okay. I know they didn't sleep in that official dress. Okay. So we left at 3 in the morning. When we got to Tarleton, we stepped off the bus, and there was a lot of those FFA kids that knew them in different schools, and they said, well, here comes the queens from Waller. I said, you know, and they were all pretty. All the girls were pretty, and and it was pretty neat. And they said, well, Waller showed up. We can go home. We know who's going to win. Okay. That would happen a lot where we went. They were really good team.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was able to go to the new dedication of the new ag building for you and Mr. Smith, and that was really neat. It's nice.
It is extremely nice. I've been to some of those kind of setups, and I haven't seen one like Waller's got.
I was a little jealous.
It's pretty state of the art. Okay, and the amazing thing about it is that I asked Ralph. I said, "Who designed this thing?" He said, "I did." Ralph Stokely, one of my ex-students,
Nice.
designed that, and now he's teaching there. I think they're going to start teaching in there, start letting kids bring their animals in this September. Okay, they didn't let them. They just had the show there,
Right.
and it's the first time they'd ever had a show at Waller. That they didn't have to go to the Waller County Fairgrounds to have the
Which is
show,
nice.
and that's pretty neat because our kids were. I always worried about that because kids were on the road, you know, and they wasn't at school. They were, you know, sometimes they weren't in your supervision because they wasn't there. But now having it to school, that's different. Okay, I think that's a real plus. It's pretty fantastic. Okay.
That's what I wouldn't mind substitute teaching over there. 'Cause I think we can have some application because.
I didn't mind having my name on it. Okay, it was really fantastic. Okay, and yeah, but so most people ask me, what did you like about teaching? I like the fact that you could see a kid grow right in front of your eyes. Okay, you could change, and then the thing I liked was after he graduated, what person they turned out to be, and you kind of feel like maybe I had a little part into that. Okay, because most of the kids I taught are leaders in their community. Okay, and they are successful, and that's, I think, really important. Okay.
And I think you did have a big influence. I would say the ag department had the biggest influence for me in high school.
Yeah.
Just
It's a really great program, and not to say that that athletics wasn't a good program, but you know what? Today I could have students that call me and say, "Well, I'm glad I learned what I did about this or that." You know, I taught a class in horticulture and a class in farm power machinery repair, and a course in floriculture. And I have kids today call me and say, "Man, you know what? That was so helpful to know what I know about now I know how to do my garden and kind of stuff like that." So,
well, the welding and things like that, we
yeah,
need
and
more
then
of that hands-on. We need more tractor repair because there's a
yeah.
long list. If your tractor breaks right now,
Yeah,
you don't get to
and,
cut your hay because there's
that's
no
right.
one there to fix the tractors.
yeah, so, and there's a shortage of good mechanics, I mean good technicians like that, but yeah, but I tell you, this high school now has got stuff in there that I might have chose a medical field to go into if I'd have been there.
Right.
I might have went to vet school, but I didn't. Okay.
Well, I've heard there's a lot of ag programs they're being cut across the state.
Yep.
But ours is growing, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, they're growing, and you got to. And the thing about it is they've gone and took on specialty classes in ag. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so that's good. And the ag programs really help. It's a strong program here in Waller. Okay. Waller's known for their ag program, and I started out with the ag teachers that we had, the quality ag teachers that we had here.
And I think y'all are a big part of the community of keeping that connection because you get to know all the parents when they're raising an animal. You get to really know. It's not just like you teach them English and they go home.
No, we went to their house. You could see what.
Right.
You got to meet the parents and see what was going on, and you know, their parents are real friends of ours. Everywhere we go, they always come up to you and thank you for teaching their kids and having them in our program. So, yeah, it's a rewarding system, and I never thought that I would live the rest of my life in Waller, but it looks like I'm gonna be here. Okay.
And it's growing, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of changes, and
There's
I'm
a-
just want
yeah.
us to. I want us to stay small, but we can at least stay small in feeling. I mean,
Yeah, you kid. Uh, Growth is not bad, okay, but sometimes it can be bad. But if we grow the right way, it won't be bad, okay. And that has to do with the leaders that you have in your community and the type of people that come here, okay.
do you have any concerns with the growth, or any thoughts of how to?
Not yet. I don't. I can see a lot of changes coming, and I think they'll be for good, most of them, okay.
Mhm.
And but like your infrastructure, your utilities and that kind of thing, and your roads, the more people you have, it's easier to keep it up, okay. And you're going to have more to offer them, okay. And so
Right.
it puts a need in your city to be able to offer those.
I think we're about to explode and have
Yeah.
all of the industries soon. We're
Yeah.
getting enough neighborhoods that are actually annexed into the city,
Yep.
so they're making money, city
Right.
tax off of them.
Yep. And
So-
that'll help the whole situation. But yeah, there's been a lot of changes in Waller. Used to have a feed store down here. Now it's still called a feed store, but
It's feeding you.
But it's a restaurant.
It's feeding you and not the
And
animals.
that's and there used to be a store right across there used to be a store right across from that feed store. It was called, when I first got it, it's still there. It's called God's Mercy Store. That was an odd little thing, okay? But people would go in there and buy things, but they didn't have a price on anything, okay? And you paid what you could afford to pay. You paid what you could afford to pay for it. I said, well, that's a pretty neat deal, okay? Wonder if a guy made any money. So,
Because God took care of him.
but the name of the store was God's Mercy Store. Yep.
So if y'all are hearing this noise, this is what happens in Waller, is they're actually have a chainsaw. They're up really, really high in a tree. I'm hoping they're going to be safe up there.
They will be.
And they're screaming.
That's a pretty good tree trimming company, okay? I'm not going to advertise them for them, but they're
No.
good. They're out of Katy. I know, I've had them here in my yard before. They're good. They know what they're doing.
But they're really loud, so hopefully you can hear everything
Yeah.
okay.
Well, what else you want to ask me?
Do you have any other fun stories of being an ag teacher that not all of us know?
Well, not too many, okay?
Crazy animal stories, things that you couldn't believe happened
Oh
and
yeah,
we
I'll tell you
survived?
what. Now you
know I
know
love
we
animals.
used to weigh in for our show here at the school, at the older school, and it looked like every calf that came in it was pretty rank at first, you know. And one time, a calf got loose and started down Phil Store Road toward where the high school is now down there. And I jumped in my truck, and Bob Smith jumped in the back of it. He had a lariat rope, and he was telling me, get closer, Donald, get closer. And he roped that calf and tied him off in my truck, and we went and got a trailer and loaded him back up. That was pretty exciting, okay? And it was on the side of the road. I said, I've never seen anybody rope a calf out of the back of a truck, okay?
He was a pretty good roper, though.
But well, he was on the national roping team out of Sam Houston, so
Right.
he was a good cowboy, okay? And so yeah, that was that was pretty exciting.
That's fun.
That was an exciting deal, okay? And then one time we were trimming some calves' feet, and we had them laid down on the side, and they're strapped down, and this one calf decided to get up and stand up on the table. I said, what are we going to do now? Because, man, he could have hurt himself bad, but we started letting the table down easy, and he come off of it okay. Well, we got lucky, okay? So, yeah, and those are some funny things. I thought the funniest thing was those girls getting dressed to be queens, step off that deal. They were in their pajamas when they got in the van, okay? And I don't think you'd get to take a bunch of girls like that anymore. But anyway, they stay here at my house, and we got up at 3 because they knew we was going to get up early. Well, Mr. Andrews, we just going to have to stay at your house. I said, well, Coach,
somebody
go ahead.
might not wake up in time and get here.
Yeah,
and
so
safely
they
drive.
did. They stayed at the house. And, that was a lot of fun. That group was a lot of fun. Okay.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your stories with us and just letting the community, as we're growing, I want them to know the people that have been here and have kind of established it, and you're still always around at different events. And
yeah, and I still, there's a lot of students that know me. I mean, a lot of people in town, and I still work. I work for the hardware store.
you still work on fixing the little engines?
Yeah, I'm a technician, okay? And so I see people every day that know me, okay? And people that work there, someone say, well, Mr. Andrews, everybody knows you. Everybody knows you, okay? And if they don't know you, they'll know you. And then there's people coming here looking just to say hello to you. I said, how does that happen? I said, well, they're just all sex students, okay?
You had a big influence.
Yeah, so.
And I appreciate it too. Even maybe I didn't have a class with you, we still were around a lot.
Yeah, we all were all part. Well, we were all part of all the kids were all part. Whether it's in your classroom or Bob's classroom or James' course or any other teachers, they were your kids. They were part of the program. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us on the porch, and thank you for getting to know your neighbor. Come join our community and get involved.